last episode, I drove to an undisclosed location and bought myself a $3,000 C4 Corvette. And since then, my grandpa and I have been wrenching away at it, or at least giving it our best effort. So far, we've cleaned the car and swapped the fuel injectors. And I left you right as I was about to start it. That's so much better than it was, though.
It's not happy. Hey, it got to 4 RPM.
Yes! So now we have to check over the entire car to see what the issue is. And we'll start with one system at a time.
Today, we are going to diagnose and fix the fuel system in its entirety.
The fuel system is essentially a big loop that takes the fuel out of your gas tank and into the engine. It starts at the tank, where the gas goes through a pre-filter before going into the fuel pump. Once it gets picked up by the fuel pump, it goes through a fuel filter to get any of the very small pieces of debris still in your fuel. Once you have good fuel, it will go to the injectors and sit right above them, ready to fire at any moment. In order for them to fire though, there has to be the right amount of fuel pressure, which is what the regulator helps regulate. Any unused or excess fuel just goes back to the return line back into the gas tank, and this process repeats indefinitely as the car is running. Now, how do you diagnose a bad fuel system? A bad fuel system is bad when it doesn't have any pressure. So let's confirm what pressure we're sitting at. Here is our fuel pressure reader right here. Now we're gonna turn the car on and we're gonna see what it sits at.
30 down to 0.
The stock fuel pressure should go up and hold between 38 and 42 psi. And as my grandpa just said, it went up to 30 and immediately dropped down. So there is something very wrong. The next step is to do a leak down test. And if pressure restores, this will tell us where or what the problem is. Okay, so this is our fuel pump right here. There are 2 fuel lines attached to the pump. There's the send line and then there's the return line. If you cut off the send line, you check to see if the fuel pump is bad. Now, if you cut off the return line, you check to see if the regulator is bad. And if you cut off both, you check to see if the injectors are bad. So first, we're going to crimp the return line with this handy tool that closes the line but does not break it. Now we read the pressure, and if the pressure stays, then that's the part that's bad. It didn't hold, so now we're on to the send line.
Yes, go.
And as you're seeing here, you send fuel first before crimping it. By clamping the send line, I can check to see if the fuel pump is bad, but it has the same pressure drop. Now with both lines crimped, testing the fuel injectors. And again, no pressure is holding.
We went through every single scenario. It's still dropping. That doesn't make any sense. All right, so what does that mean?
That means there's a terrible leak somewhere. So let's find it and replace a couple parts along the way.
I think you need a new battery.
Yeah.
11.85. That's a dead battery, but it's not a completely dead battery.
So per Roshan's assessment, we took out the battery and went to go charge it at AutoZone.
Okay, so we bought a new battery. Our old one exploded trying to charge it. This one has more cold cranking amps, so this should work. We also have brand new terminal bolts for the battery. The old ones were completely corroded and stripped. Like, look at that. Oh my goodness.
These new ones just snap on, and now we can put in the battery. So now we have a brand new battery. So let's get a brand new regulator as well. It's only 20 bucks for a new diaphragm. So we just took off the plenum, which you saw in the last episode, except this time, instead of taking us like half an hour, it took us 5 minutes. Oh, we're getting so good at this. Please, someone hire me as a mechanic. And as you can see, the regulator is just held on by 6 bolts. And with those off, we can unseal it and bring it over to the table. Now with that out, we can take the spring diaphragm mechanism out, and all you have to do is switch the spring and seal. This thing is able to regulate fuel pressure by keeping tension on a spring.
That one is shot.
Yeah, there's no spring. The spring didn't move, so I can only assume the regulator is bad. I'm glad we replaced it. Next up, we have the fuel filter. I put on some penetrating oil first, because this was going to be hard to get off. I had barely any room to work. Oh! And for some reason, using the wrenches as essentially scissors to create torsion was very confusing for me.
Oh, sorry guys, I don't know if you guys saw any of that, but I finally broke these 2 lines loose.
So with more tedious loosening and more groaning.
Okay, there we go. Alright, I got gloves on now. The fuel's actually dripping. Okay.
Currently getting the bracket off to take the fuel filter out. I got the new fuel filter on. I tightened the lines up by pushing the wrenches opposite directions.
There you go.
Now the fuel filter is in, all well and good, and we're going to plug in the battery and test the pressure, because why not? Yeah, it didn't hold, obviously. So now we're going to remove the fuel pump and see if this could be the culprit of our issues. To remove, you simply take out the hoses and then the 10 mil bolts behind them.
That is not what I wanted to see.
So this is a brand new fuel pump. We do need to get a strainer for this though. While we have the pump out, however, I'm going to manually pump out the fuel. It's been sitting for years, so it's bad. And then I can clean the whole fuel system using the Lucas fuel treatment. I'm taking out the fuel rail again to look at the injectors one last time. And last episode, I said that I would take out the clips for the injectors, and you could see the difference they make. There's a lot less movement, and even though they're bolted down to the fuel rail and there wasn't fuel spurting out the side of the rail, this is more so just for my peace of mind. So now let's prime the rail again.
We got pressure, 12. 42. We got pressure.
Now if you notice, we actually forgot to plug in the injectors. But since we're just priming the fuel rail and not actually firing the car, this shouldn't make a difference. Well, that's a problem.
Okay, so since last episode, I've done a lot more of my own research with the help of my friends over here. This is the 1987 Corvette Service Manual, and this is the Electrical Diagnosis Supplement. Altogether, there's probably about like 1,000, maybe 1,500 pages of good information.
Now, did I need to get the manual to figure out this issue? No, but is it going to be super helpful in the future? I think so, especially with the random issues like this.
Turn on your wipers if you want to turn.
I don't know where the wipers are on this car. Oh, they're over here on the door.
Can you go faster?
This is as fast as it goes.
No.
Yeah, it is. That's high. This is low. And this is high.
Put it on low.
There you go. I'm trying to put it on off. Okay, I think it's off. Bro, what? Fuse box. We're removing number 25. Ta-da!
So that's an issue for another day, but let's get back to the injectors. So the only thing that controls the injectors is the electronic control module. So there are two possibilities here. Either one, the ECM is bad, or two, there's a bad wire or a short. If there's any electrical short or there's an issue with the wiring, the chances of both banks of the engine and every single injector firing at the exact same time when it's not supposed to, super unlikely. So I bought a new ECM. It is the exact same ECM that I have here. All we have to do is switch the prom pin inside, and then we put the new one in, and it should work. While waiting for the ECU, I want to try something with the carpets. To be honest, I could care less about these carpets. That's why I felt so comfortable using this. I guess I wanted to know how good the Duplicolor vinyl and fabric spray was. I realized though, since the condition of these carpets are terrible, anything that I did would have made them look better. They were super crusty, obviously not red anymore, and by the end of spraying them, I was actually super impressed. Like, what? They look actually really good. So I put them in the car, very curious to see how the red will hold up. Feels good to at least have one win. And does that mean I'll use this on any vinyl and fabric? Absolutely not. But it's good for things that you don't care about as much. Now we want to take a look at the condition of our broken target top, which I don't really know what I was expecting. It's obviously broken.
Dang, this thing is chopped up.
Nice. And then...
Now we're finally removing the rest of the adhesive on the body panels, and this is looking much better.
We got a new ECU, we got a new ECU, we got a new ECM, and it's the same as an ECU. Oh, that's a lot of bubble wrap. I love that. Oh, there it is.
We're switching the prom stick here. It stands for programmable read-only memory, and this thing has all the information about specifically my car. So in order for this thing to work, we need to switch it into the new ECU. It's very simple to plug in right in the passenger footwell.
Oh, I hope this works. Does our horn work?
Does it?
Okay, moment of truth.
Oh my God. We got pressure. God bless America. Yes!
Let's go. I'm so glad the ECM works. Yo, we actually solved an issue. So happy. It doesn't fire when you turn to accessory. I can only assume it fires when we turn the car on, but there's a couple more things that we have to get done before we can even attempt cranking this engine again. Number one, all the spark plugs are going to be removed cleaned and dried. Number 2, we're going to hand crank the engine and try to get as much fuel out of the cylinders as possible. Whatever we don't get out, I'm going to buy a manual fuel pump and we can get it out that way. And number 3, we have to do yet another oil change and to replace the oil filter. After that, we'll have a fully functioning ignition system and we'll have a fully functioning fuel system. So if this car doesn't start, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Thank you. I'm not gonna leave you on another cliffhanger this episode. You're off the hook on this one. I got nothing else to do right now. I have to wait for parts to come in. So catch y'all later. Peace.